Disney+Pals.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Disney+Pals, where we do things on Disney+. Bleh.
And we got a special treat for you guys. We are doing Muppets!
We're specifically doing Muppets the Christmas Carol. Of course, we're not going to need to recap the story because you know Christmas Carol, but we might talk about how some of the Muppet characters fill the roles, whether or not we like this version.
The one with a dog. Christmas. Dogs. Yeah, I know, Scruffy. I know.
I want to come say hi.
Dog. But also, since this is our first Muppets thing,
and
how do you?
King of Muppets, apparently.
I love the Muppets. I love them a lot. The Muppet movie happens to be my favorite movie ever. But I gotta admit, Muppets Christmas Carol, even though I do love it, it's actually on the lower side of my Muppets love list. Don't get me wrong, I still love it.
Wait a minute. But, lower than Muppet Wizard of Oz?
Nah, it's not lower than that.
Wait. Well, my favorite one is Treasure Island.
Yeah, my favorites in order are the Muppet Movie, The Great Muppet Caper, Muppets, the redo of it, The Muppets.
Oh, the one with 2011?
Yeah.
Then Muppets Most Wanted. Then Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh.
Then we'd probably get to Muppets Christmas Carol.
Okay.
So it's like my sixth.
Okay. Now, people watching at home, we are not saying that the Muppet movies are bad. Far from it. Anything the Muppets are in, it's golden. It's just a happen.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Oh, I also like that TV show they did more than this. So I guess it's seventh. Oh, and the Muppet Show. So I guess it's eighth.
Where the heck did you put Muppet Treasure Island?
Muppet Treasure Island is probably below this.
Right. I'd probably put Christmas. I mean, I haven't seen all the Muppet movies yet, so who am I to judge? I'd probably Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, and the 2011 Muppet movie, as well as I've seen part of Muppets of Manhattan, probably up there.
You see, I think my issue is I love the Muppets so much that I get a little distracted when they're doing an established story, like Treasure Planet and stuff. Like I just want Muppety goodness. I already know Treasure Planet. I mean Island.
The other treasure. I love that song. I love that song. It's so beautiful. So underrated.
My soul, yo, oh,
Anyway, our Neil goes out like a light. Let's do this.
Yep, my Wi-Fi is a little screwy, so we'll see how long I'm even in this episode.
Leroy Jenkins.
But yeah, of course, the Muppets are a comedy puppet team where they have super iconic songs, super touching moments, and a bunch of meta humor to make even the best of us laugh.
Oh, yes.
I adore the Muppets. It's one of my favorite things ever, and it's right up there with Tintin and them as one of my favorite movies ever.
Tintin! Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned Tintin. Me and my dad are big Tintin fans.
Well, Tintin is just a randomly mentioned other thing I like. It doesn't really have a connection to this.
I don't really like Tintin.
We could have Tintin Muppets.
We'll convert you. We'll convert you, Cher. We'll make you like Tintin.
I got my Rise of the Guardians, thank you very much, and Disney and stuff. Thank
Honestly,
you.
Tintin is my favorite animated movie, at least in CG. And that's saying something considering Tangled is in CG.
Which
But
Tangled just turned 10, guys. Happy 10th anniversary to Tangled. Yay!
Well, with that, let's focus back onto the Muppets for a minute. Let's just quickly do everybody's introduction to the Muppets. I'll start with mine because I could lag out whenever. I was introduced to the Muppets a little different than everybody else. I already knew who Kermit the Frog was. I already knew who Fozzie was. Because, I watched Sesame Street. But I was really introduced to the characters of the Muppets with the Muppet movie, which has gone on to probably be my favorite movie ever. And they just stuck with me. They really, I have attributed my idea of creativity to the Muppets. Like, if you can look at this sock puppet and see Kermit the Frog instead of a sock puppet, that alone is a creative act. And the entirety of the Muppets is all about testing the boundaries of that creativity. And I loved it. I fell in love with it, and I probably wouldn't be the person I am today without it. So, thank you, Kermit.
You're welcome, Neil. I'm glad I could have that sort of lasting appeal on you. Who'd have thought a frog would have done that sort of thing, even more than the frog prince, so to say.
Yeah. The other guy from Princess and the Frog, he didn't do shit. I don't know his name. Naveen. Yeah, fuck him.
All he needed was cooking lessons. I think the Swedish chef could have done that easily.
Maybe cooked frog legs. That's a sensitive topic for you. I'm sorry.
I mean, not as sensitive as pork chops for,
Oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Thank you.
You have kids in this movie. Cher, do you want to talk about your discovery of the Muppets?
I was more of a Sesame Street fan than the Muppets.
I feel ya.
Elmo was like my world. I freaking love Elmo.
Oh, me too, for a little bit.
Yeah, I freaking love Elmo and Cookie Monster, Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch. I think I still have Elmo's in Grouchland on DVD. I think I still have.
I honestly like that movie. I do like that movie. But
I think I got introduced to it by the songs, because there used to be like this kids station I would listen to on the radio whenever my parents would drive everywhere, and they would always play like Muppet songs. They play like the theme song. They play like the Mana Mana song, Mana Mana do 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 Mana Mana do 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 do. And my personal favorite, Rainbow Connection. Like, who doesn't like Rainbow Connection, guys? Come on.
it's the best song ever written.
Songs about rainbows and what's on the other side. I won't sing it all right. I won't go into full, but you get the point. I don't remember watching any of the movies like as a young kid. Probably more in my preteens. I probably started watching Muppet Caper, Christmas Carol. Apologize, my dog is whining right now. My personal favorite, Treasure Island, because of a certain actor.
Your dog's like, stop talking about Tim Curry.
I like Tim Curry. Don't judge me.
Hey, it's the dog, not me.
Yeah, but I remember watching the first, like the 2011 Muppets with I think Jason Segel and Amy Adams. I remember watching that, and then I watch it every now and then. I just don't watch it all the time. So that's my story.
Yeah, I feel you. I was mostly introduced with the movies too. Criminally though, I haven't seen a ton of the Muppet Show. Don't get me wrong, I've seen a couple of episodes here and there, but just by the time I was old enough to get into the Muppets, it wasn't on TV anymore. And they didn't.
I think I do remember watching Muppet Babies though. That's probably.
I watched Muppet Babies too.
I think I watched Muppet Babies first, and then I got introduced to everything else.
I mean, I honestly, one of these days, I'm gonna sit down and buy every single DVD to the Muppet Show because for some reason it's not on Disney Plus, and it really needs to be. They have the newer show, but not the older one. But I actually did do a Muppet rewatch recently, right before I went to Disney World, and I rewatched all of the Muppet movies. So honestly, like, that was a bit of a trip. I oftentimes will just play The Great Muppet Caper and the original Muppet movie in the background while I work and stuff. It's so good, I just like listening to them. Callum, what was your Muppet experience?
Okay, this starts a long time back. Yeah, let's cuddle our dogs.
In a galaxy far, far away.
No, we're not doing Star Wars. No, shh, down. Okay, we're not doing Star Wars.
Muppets did do a Star Wars episode.
Scruffy, no, don't. Okay, we'll say Star Wars later.
Already, we don't want Neil to go off like a Muppet.
Does anyone ever remember watching Disney VHSs like, say, The Jungle Book or Robin Hood?
Yeah, I watched all of these on VHS.
Yeah. Then watching to the end, and then they would play some kind of Muppet short. Does anyone remember that, or was that just me?
As long as it's not the Wilkins coffee.
I do kind of know what you're referencing. They would have these little shorts and stuff. Were they like ads or just a Muppet skit?
I think it was just some kind of Muppet skit, and I think whether it be the Swedish chef dealing with the spaghetti monster or something, or Miss Piggy and Kermit talking about something before she smacks him and he bumps into a curtain. Then it does the Muppet theme with the Jim Henson logo, and then Gonzo tries to blow the trumpet only for it to blow away like a balloon. That's my memory of.
Yeah, that's part of the Muppet Show, actually.
Yeah. So my next, I mean, of course, I've heard about it here and there. Kermit's an icon, so of course, there's that too. My next introduction, I saw Muppets Treasure Island and watched it a lot. And to this day, my entire family's favorite one-liner from that movie is Rizzo the Rat in response to Billy Connolly dying, says, "He died? And this is supposed to be a kids movie!" Love that line. Next, it was Muppets Christmas Carol on the television. Again, watched that multiple times. Then we managed to get a VHS from our friends who go to church with us, who showed us like a VHS of the original Muppet Show, like the highlights from like the first few seasons or so. You got like Wonder Pig, Pig in Space, Kermit singing "It's Not Easy Being Green," the Phenomena, a great Gonzo doing stunts, catching a cannonball only for his arm to be stretched out to a great extent, and people giving commentary, Fozzie making his terrible joke, Swedish Chef cooking, you know the rest, yes.
As a kid, I always wonder why Miss Piggy sounded like a dude.
I kind of just went with it.
I particularly like the dog who played the piano. I can see why.
That's Rolf.
Rolf. I like him.
Rolf isn't in a lot of stuff anymore, but he was definitely a favorite of Jim Henson. I forgot my train of thought. Oh yeah. With me and Miss Piggy, I actually didn't know it was a guy for the longest time.
So in recent, so then that was pretty much that with the Muppets, and it was kind of a shame to see them be kind of left in the wind. That was until the 2011 trailer came back. I remember seeing it for the first time in the cinemas. My mind was blown. Went to a similar film with the advert played again, my sister went, "Oh, the Muppets are coming back! The Muppets are coming back!" And indeed, the Muppets came back in their full glory, just as funny and fresh as they originally were. And that movie was definitely heartfelt. And it was a welcome back. That Muppets movie did what The Force Awakens did for the Star Wars franchise. It brought it back into the mainstream, and there's been some other installments ever since. And of course, there was other things that I got into just over the years. I saw some of the lesser movies like Muppets in Space, Muppets Wizard of Oz. I recently with
Oh my
Disney+.
gosh, I remember the Muppets and the Wizard of Oz. That one was weird.
Yeah. So
But even that one had some good scenes in it.
Oh yeah. They're not terrible. It's just not as good as some of their other ones. That's all. I think I don't know if it was before or after we saw some some things they Muppet skits on the internet. Yeah, I remember watching a lot of Muppet skits. I think it must have been before or somewhere around that time. But there were lots of funny Muppet clips on YouTube, and especially their own parodies of Popcorn and Bohemian Rhapsody. That was brilliant. And on Disney Plus, they recently did Muppets Now. I've only seen the first episode, and their humor is still there, especially with Kermit doing his photography, which is actually photobombing. Photobombing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do like Muppets Now. I think it's okay. I wish they would have just done another season of the like ABC Muppet Show, because that was legitimately hilarious. Like, it was perfect for the Muppets.
I'll need to get to watching that.
Oh yeah, didn't people have like mixed reviews about that?
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was like a little too, I guess, adult.
Wait, but
Like,
wasn't Muppets originally adult?
Yeah, but in this one, like, there were some very adult themes. Like, no one was swearing or anything, but there were definitely references to drinking beer, and also, like, I don't want to say it, but the puppets...
There's some of them involved with Miss Piggy.
The Muppets may or may not have talked about sex a little bit.
It is involved with Miss Piggy.
Some of it.
Figures.
Some other of it involved Beaker and Butts and Honeydew, and that is not a joke. And yeah, it was just a little weird, but I gotta be honest, it made me laugh even harder, and I kind of loved it.
Maybe there's a reason why Beaker only makes some sounds, because I don't want to know what happens when he sounds like an actual Does anyone else remember that? Oh, actually, no, yeah, you guys will remember. Some reason I stumbled across this. Muppets were on WWE at one point.
Oh yeah. Not only that, they pop up everywhere. They were in an improv rapping show. They're in the Game Awards every single year, including this year. Yesterday, Swedish Chef showed up during the Game Awards.
Last year, me and Neil watched a Beaker and Bunsen promote the Untitled Beaker game.
What?
The Untitled Beaker game.
Is this DLC for this game?
Yup.
I'm going to cry.
And actually, brand new, in the game Overcooked, a DLC has just gotten released that will actually add Swedish Chef into it.
They've also appeared publicly in some other things. There's a singer I adore called Andrea Bocelli, beautiful opera singer, and the Muppets sang Jingle Bells with him. Oh, and Andrea Bocelli also sung Conte Party Row but as a lullaby to Elmo to get him to sleep. So that was quite sweet as well.
Honestly, I'm probably going to watch a ton of Muppets after this, because just talking about them makes me want to, like, soak myself in Muppety goodness. I love the Muppets.
Kermit has also been in a TED Talk. And
Oh
they've
yeah,
also,
Kermit had a TED Talk.
yeah, there's also been various interviews with them and other shows like the BBC show and and such where they talked over like Skype chats. Honestly,
Again,
it's
the
impressive.
Muppets are just their own people.
Yeah, pretty much. And
But
it, when you look to the credits, like with Christmas Carol, you don't really see the puppeteer. Kermit the Frog as Bob Cratchit, like Miss Piggy as his wife. You get Gonzo as Charles Dickens. You get Fozziwig as Fezziwig or Fozziwig. Get it? And
I think
so
they did that one on purpose.
oh,
yeah.
that might be the whole reason they did the fucking movie, just for that joke.
Yeah, pretty much. But
It's a
even
good
that-
joke.
It's really good.
I got like funny enough. After I watched the movie yesterday, I went on YouTube because I always like to go on YouTube, and then like all of a sudden I found out that the Nostalgia Critic did the review on Muppets Christmas Carol. I was like, huh, who would have thought? I watched.
You want to
Muppets
hear a
Christmas Carol. I
weirder
didn't know the
coincidence?
review, like that's a coincidence, I guess.
You want to hear a weirder coincidence, Cher? There is another podcast that is similar to ours. It is called Escape from Walt Disney, starring Tony Goldmark. And in that, he used to work for Channel Awesome. It was actually in a crossover review with the Nostalgia Critic when they did Sorcerer's Apprentice. I'm losing my train of thought, but his podcast is all about reviewing things on Disney+, but the way they pick what to review is they have a randomizer with literally everything on Disney+. So each week it's something random. They've reviewed Disney classics, they've reviewed freaking Muppet movies, they've reviewed documentaries because that's on Disney+. And one of the cooler things that happened is just the other day, yesterday, he reviewed Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas.
Hey, we did Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas.
We beat him to it, but we're going to be uploading after him.
He might have recorded before us, but who knows? So every time they usually bring a guest for the shows and for the films. In this case, they brought along Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge.
Mm. And with that, let's jump into Muppets Christmas Carol. Now, again, we're not going to be recapping because you know the story of Christmas Carol. 3 ghosts.
I would know.
Scrooge.
Yes, I am doing on Stardust. I'm not doing every Christmas Carol, but I'm reacting to some Christmas carols on Stardust. It's like my festive holiday fun, a Christmas Carol edition. I've done Patrick Stewart, the Jim Carrey one. I'm getting flashbacks of the Grinch right now. I did the BBC one that came out last year, which had a lot of mixed reactions. I did the Boy Meets World one, and today I just did the Barbie one. Don't ask, I like Barbie. Don't judge me. It was a weird movie though, but yeah. So yeah, and I did Muppets. I did a reaction to Muppets yesterday. So now we get to talk about it. Yay!
Yeah. So just jumping in, what do we think of what do we think of the songs? Let's cover them first before we do anything else. Because I gotta be real, like I really like some of the songs in this movie, but my opinion is, what was that?
No, I was agreeing with you. I was like, yeah.
Well, some of them aren't as strong as other Muppet songs, in my opinion, because if you look at it, these are fine songs. Like, wherever you find love, it feels like Christmas. That's a classic to me. But all the other songs are just kind of okay and just kind of there. Like, I love the song Kermit sings. I love a lot of the songs in this, but I don't know. For me, it's no Rainbow Connection. It's no Pictures in My Head. It's no, hey, a movie. There's not one big song where I'm like, damn, that one. I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? Am I stupid? Tell me.
Well, if there's one thing we always expect of the Muppets, it's to expect good quality songs, because that's what the Muppets do. They joke and they sing, and for Muppets
They
Christmas
sing
Carol,
and they dance and they make people happy.
yeah, pretty much. One could make the argument that some of their songs are not as memorable as some of the other ones, but there's always at least one or two memorable songs to have throughout their various soundtracks, with a few exceptions. Even Muppets from Space, which didn't really have much songs, we all remember the scene of "Celebrate Good Times, Come On."
Oh
So,
yeah, that's Cool in the Gang.
yeah. Um,
Thank you, Dad.
Actually, now that you mention it, Neil, I'm remembering that for whatever reason, there's an extended edition of this movie with some scenes that,
Nostalgia Critic talked about this in his review. I know which one you're talking about.
for some reason, they never put these scenes, which elaborated so much more in a good way, into the movie. I'm thinking, why did they cut this out? So probably for better pacing, but basically there's an extension of the Marley scene being a bit more true to the the typical Christmas Carol structure, and then there's the Love We Share scene, where basically it's the ghost of Christmas past is showing Scrooge his past, and he's going in to show him the heartbreak that made him who he was, due to his distancing from his friends from being in his business for so long. But of course, Scrooge doesn't want to see that again, but he must. In the original cut, it was just a simple conversation and the heartbreak. I mean, it's not that it wasn't effective. I mean, it was there, but the song in the extended edition. I mean, this song actually reoccurs throughout it, and this leitmotif is even more, a bit more of an oomph to it, with when you first hear it here with the lady friend singing it here, and then you have
Belle.
the present Scrooge is singing it with them, and he's hesitating to finish off the verse. Like, oh, that's heartbreaking.
Oh, is that why we see in like the after, is that why we see RIZZO crying?
Yeah, that's pretty much why. And Michael
honestly, the version I saw, the very first version on my VHS, actually was this version with the song. So for the longest time, I just thought the Love Is Gone was just part of it. But yeah, I like that song too. I adore that song. I adore that Scrooge is singing with her, even though he doesn't want to.
I just emphasize it. He's like tearing up and stuff. That's really heartbreaking.
I do think though that even though there are clearly good songs, I'm not saying any of these songs are bad. They're not. I don't think they're as good as other Muppet songs. I just sometimes while chilling will find myself humming, moving right along from the original Muppet movie. I'll find myself humming Happiness Hotel. But I have never hummed a single one of these songs ever casually. And I love these songs. I think they're great. It's just, I don't think they're as good as the other Muppet stuff. That being said, the best one is probably Feels Like Christmas, in my opinion. I like that one.
Or Ghost of Christmas Present. Yes, showing Scrooge around what love and the charity and the warmth that comes from Christmas from the various locals. Yes.
I think they nailed Ghost of Christmas Present in this movie. Obviously, we've seen so many different versions. And the Ghost of Christmas Present is supposed to be Scrooge just went through this hard time in the past. He's emotional. The Ghost of Christmas Present is supposed to be comforting, but at the same time revealing truths he refuses to see. And I think they nailed it with this guy.
I'm still scarred by the Jim Carrey version, especially when he dies.
Oh yeah, that guy is not my personal favorite of the Ghost of Christmas Present. And I'm just gonna say it: the Ghost of Christmas Present has always kind of been my favorite of the ghosts. When I was a kid, I thought he was Santa Claus in disguise.
Oh yeah, that you get that. And also, I think there was this really creative idea. I think Nostalgia Critic brought it up in Disney December, where since he's the ghost of Christmas present, his memory is always just keeping up with the present.
Absent-minded. He literally said that in yesterday's review. He said like the ghost of Christmas present on here is very absent-minded. Like he says it, and then he's like, "Wait, did I say blah 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 blah? Oh yeah." It's really funny.
I think Nostalgia Critic a little too much.
I'm sorry. I just thought because I just watched the review yesterday.
Oh, it's okay, dear. It's okay.
I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't mean to. I know some people have harsh feelings about me.
I'm sorry. There are other people who are better at doing this than we are.
You gotta keep in mind, Ghost of Christmas Present still has to be a bit strict with them. I mean, in the story, he does reveal that he keeps these children beneath his robes, Want and what was the other one called again? It was Want and
Desire.
Desire.
It was either
like
want or need.
Wait, but doesn't desire mean want? Isn't desire and want pretty much the same thing? Or they're synonyms?
I don't remember the part of the story. I'm gonna be real. It was always weird when he opens up his robes and there are kids underneath.
Especially the Jim Carrey version. I will never forget the Jim Carrey version. Jim Carrey version. Oh my god, what the heck?
You're gonna be okay, sweetie. You're gonna be okay.
But I'm just saying, it's an important part of the story, which is often overlooked in some versions, but in other versions, like, well, the Jim Carrey version and the Alistair Sim version, don't worry, the Alistair Sim version is much more lighthearted than that version. Basically, he reveals the children who a bit sinister looking, but they're meant to raise a point. Beware of these children because they'll bring you down a dark path, but most of all, beware of this boy, he says. And then Scrooge then asks, wait, have they no shelter? Have they no warehouses? And then the ghost repeats the words that he said. Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? And that's meant to haunt Scrooge. And then Ghost of Christmas Present leaves him. Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing, and this is why I actually like this version better. Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they cut that part out entirely, or does he have the kids?
No, I didn't see him when I watched it yesterday. No, he just basically disappeared in sparkle magic.
Here's the thing. I understand that, like, the story of, like, the Ghost of Christmas Present is look around at what you have. And something I like about this Ghost of Christmas Present better than what you just described, Callum, is the fact that he's treating Scrooge like a normal person. He isn't like, you're going to learn this lesson. He's like, no, come with me, go on this walk, we're going to talk. And I love that, like, Scrooge would listen to him because he's being treated kindly. So when he does bring up his words, when he does throw what Scrooge says back in his face, when it's like, if he's going to die, then let him do it and decrease the population, Scrooge can really feel just how evil those words are because the ghost wouldn't say them. He's a kind ghost. The reason those words are evil isn't because the ghost is saying them. It's because they are Scrooge's words. And that hits so much more powerfully to me. Plus, that scene at the end where he dies, I gotta be honest, I think that's the most emotional I've ever been for the Ghost of Christmas Present. I wanted him to stick around. I wanted him to teach Scrooge about the future through his present. But just like the present itself, he needed to keep going. And of course, that leads him directly into his future. And then the present and the past are gone.
And then you have
sorry, I'm humming something from My Little Pony, which I will also be doing. There's a My Little Pony Christmas Carol coming soon, everybody. Yay! For me, not for all of us, but just me. Bye.
And then, of course, there's the Ghost of Christmas Future. What did you think of this version of the Ghost of Christmas Future? Because there's been plenty of versions, and he's typically depicted as a sort of a Grim Reaper, dark cloaked figure where you never see his face, but the key characteristic are his hands that slowly point to make him pay attention to what he wants him to see.
Yeah, there's like very rare Christmas Futures where they actually talk, like, you know, like the Mickey Christmas Carol, it's Pete. And yes, I love that one. And then, like, in My Little Pony, which I freaking love, do not judge me, My Little Pony is Princess Luna, and she sings this very haunting song. It's really good. I'm telling you, don't you I know it's My Little Pony, but I'm telling you, it's really good. You have to trust me on this. But other times, yeah, it's mainly depicted as like a Grim Reaper, like a skeleton hand or whatever. This one, I mean, he's fine. It's a puppet. It's fine. It's usually like Christmas Future, because Ebenezer Scrooge does say, "You're the one that I fear the most," and I know it's a kids movie. I was like, okay. What else do you say?
I gotta be real here. In my opinion, this isn't a great version of the Ghost of Christmas Future. And it's not the puppet's fault. It is not Michael Caine's fault. I think it is the setting's fault. Let me explain. So, when I think of the Ghost of Christmas Present, I can't specifically think of which Christmas Carol this is. I'm sorry, there's just so many. But my favorite version is, I like it when the Ghost of Christmas Future is silent. But not only that, there's one version that doesn't walk with Scrooge. All of the other ghosts you can see walking beside Scrooge. They're guiding him. The Ghost of Christmas Present, Future in this version doesn't walk with Scrooge. Anytime Scrooge looks at a shadow or looks around, he can see that he's there. But he's not beside him. He's not guiding him. He isn't where Scrooge can see him. He's just somewhere beyond reach, beyond comprehension. And then anytime Scrooge asks a question, he will point and he will appear either in the shadows or he will be somewhere where Scrooge just didn't see him, and Scrooge will know where he has to go. I like this version because it's ominous. You don't know about your future. You can't keep your future contained like you can your present, because your future is always going to be spastic and changing. And I like that version. With this one, it just kind of felt like a Grim Reaper following you around, which is fine. It doesn't ruin the film for me. It's just, it felt like they put all of their creative energy into past and present. And for me, at least, future was a little lacking.
Did future look a tad bit ridiculous? I mean, maybe it suits the Muppets, but maybe the hood was a little bit too big, or maybe I don't know.
That's why I brought up the setting. I think if it was darker and if there was a thunderstorm or something, that puppet would have looked haunting, like a statue that's moving.
Oh, okay.
Now I see what you're talking about, because I don't know. Well, now that I think, so far I've watched like 5 different Christmas carols right now, and now that you mention it, yeah, I gotta admit, the Jim Carrey one with the Christmas Future, the black horses with red eyes, that was definitely intimidating. This one is just, it's
just
there.
That version. My personal favorite version of the Ghost of Christmas Future is the Jim Carrey version. Why? It's a literal shadow. He is constantly in Scrooge's shadow, pointing him where to go, and every time in the background, you just see the Ghost of Christmas Future as his literal shadow, kind of foreshadowing the future. Great design, very minimal, really stylized. It's amazing, aesthetically, and there's even some moments where his shadow kind of extends like you would when you're playing with light, whenever he's revealing something, and other times he's hidden behind fog, stuff like that, and it's a brilliant design.
Yeah, I agree. I think that version really does play a lot off of the other version I was speaking about. Again, I'm like Googling it, trying to figure out which one it is. I'd know it if I saw it.
I actually watched the Sir Patrick Stewart version last week, and their Christmas Future was good too. I liked it as well. And I also like the My Little Pony one, even though it's like, too cutesy and too girly. The way that they did Christmas Future, I freaking love it. I love the song as well.
I have looked it up. I have looked it up. I believe it is the George C. Scott version.
Oh, the George C. Scott version.
When did that?
It came out a while ago. I honestly can't remember when it came out. Something else that's cool that I kind of forgot to mention is anytime you see the Ghost of Christmas Future or Scrooge asks a question, you hear this sound. And it sounds like metal. And for the longest time, I was like, what is the sound? I thought it was a scythe hitting another piece of metal. But then one day I realized it. Oh, it's the sound a chain makes when you're pulling on a gate. This is Scrooge being pulled into the gates of hell. And I realized that, and I was like, holy shit!
It can't. The George C. Scott version came out in 1984.
That's another version that's been getting a lot of attention and appraisal.
It's one of my favorite versions. This is a really good version of the story because I gotta be real. Kermit the Frog might be the best Bob Cratchit ever.
Who'd have thought a frog makes for the best Bob Cratchit? I mean, who can blame me? I mean, even a mouse tried to play the part in the past as well, and a frog seems to have done the trick.
I mean, with Kermit, we've seen Kermit in other movies, so maybe it's a little unfair, but Kermit being like mistreated in a workplace is something that legitimately makes me sad. And Kermit is always trying to do what's best for people. We've seen that in the Muppet movie. We've seen it in The Great Muppet Caper. He's all about family. And because of that, of course he's Bob Cratchit. Of course he's the father of Tiny Tim. It's such a good choice that honestly, I'm so happy they did it.
Sorry, I'm just smiling to myself because there's something that always, I mean, it's part of the charm of the Muppets, of course, but of course, with Miss Piggy being the wife, they have a family of children.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, the two little pigs, the Belinda and Beta, and then like the little frog Peter. Oh my gosh! But the twin pigs of like she kept getting their names wrong. I was like, oh my god, this is so funny.
Frog children and pig children.
Look,
don't question it.
We discussed it earlier. Muppets back. So now that we know that, let's just get all of this out of the way.
Oh my god, don't question it. Oh my god, please.
I want to remind everybody in Great Muppet Caper, there is a bear who is said to be Fozzie and Kermit's dad, who looks exactly like Fozzie, but he's green like Kermit. Don't question Muppet procreation. It's a slippery slope. Just be happy in this one they just chose to do frogs and pigs instead of green pigs or whatever.
Don't question, just go with it. If you question it, it's gonna make it more awkward, guys.
Although, back to being this serious, really appreciate Kermit's nephew being Tiny Tim, getting coughing, and I can recall being getting a bit sticky here. From they established, too much excitement, and I thought to myself, can you actually get a bit tad bit sick from getting too much excitement? They said, yeah, you can. So that's kind of a legit thing to say to a character like him, even though we clearly know that he's a bit ill. But and of course that Scrooge is meant to help him, etc., etc., etc.
And there are some characters who just fit into the roles. Robin fits into the role of Tiny Tim. Stantler and Wardolph, of course, they're the Marleys.
Yeah, and they have one of the best songs in the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, it's so catchy. I mean, to be fair, like Marley is supposed to be this scary figure. He is the beginning of what is to come, so he's supposed to freak you out. But
Yeah,
the Muppets aren't scary, so I like that they just go, nah, let's have fun. And they show the chain, which is awesome.
even
Ah,
and the boxes that they carry, which also speak specifically. To have your fun till when it's done, a nightmare waits for you.
what? Before we forget, because I keep forgetting, we skipped the Ghost Christmas past. We skipped past.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. She's just creepy. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. She is so creepy.
Yeah, this doll-like appearance. There's something kind of what's the word?
Uncanny?
Yeah, uncanny. Yeah, uncanny about her.
I was like, what the heck?
I like it.
I don't like it.
Actually, quite
In-
suitable, actually.
You know, the reason I like it is sometimes when you look at your past, it isn't always pretty.
Yeah, and it's a bit hazy,
I'll give you that one.
which is indicated by.
It's hazy and like it's sweet and can sometimes be soothing, like the character's voice, but it's gonna have parts of it that aren't like that. It looks like they threw a lot of symbolism into this design, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I like her voice. It's just I don't like her face. She's cute. I think.
I like her role in the story. I think her voice is soothing. I like this whole part with Belle. I like that Gonzo and I like that Gonzo and RIZZO just fucking hitch a ride by like throwing a rope on Scrooge's leg. I like the past scene, and I like the older person who plays young Scrooge. I think Fozzie does well at the party. I especially like seeing Animal get all depressed because he can't play the drums and has to play a triangle.
That's one of my favorite parts. He looks so depressed and he's just banging the triangle. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna play these drums.
I love Animal. Okay, your favorite Muppet is Kermit, obviously. Some of my favorites are Swedish Chef. The top one, Animal. I love playing the drums myself, and he just makes me grin every time he appears. Like, one of the most memorable Animal scenes is in this film. The first scene we see him, everyone's talking. Fozzie trying to get everyone's attention, and they're too noisy. Animal walks up to the camera, big, thick eyebrows closed, opens up. Quiet! Everyone just looks at him and walks off. Then, of course, there's that scene where he's playing the drums, but it's a waltz rhythm, so he's thinking, oh, this is so dull, and then he just goes, oh, no.
I do love the few times that he does actually play the triangle, because when he hits it so hard, he's like, ah! Ah! It's wonderful. But yeah, so that's Ghost of Christmas Present, Ghost of Christmas Past, Ghost of Christmas Future.
We mentioned
I think we have to talk about the guy himself. What did we think of Ebenezer Scrooge?
Oh, yes, there's been various versions of Ebenezer Scrooge. Some say there's, for me, the best versions of Scrooge, at least from what I've seen so far, Alistair Sim version from the film just titled Scrooge. That is the pinnacle version. You see the emotion, you see the regret, you see this, maybe it's this sort of hesitation to change out of guilt and doubt, and there's a lot of nuance in there. And a lot of versions were influenced by that. I even had a Christmas Carol production of my own at Eden Court Theatre where, guess what? I actually played Scrooge himself. I had to be an old man, and I took a lot of inspiration from Alistair Sim. And by doing so, I actually fooled a lot of people into thinking that I was older than I was at the time, even though I was about 19 or 18. People thought I was in my 20s or so. But that's beside the point. Michael Caine does a fine job here. As mentioned before, it's a shame that some scenes where his truly excelling acting like the love we share was cut out. That is such a shame, because that was he really lets out his emotions there. But other times, I've heard some people say it can be just a little bit on the stale side. I mean, he's not a bad Scrooge by any means. I'd be happy to see him again, and he's not a bad singer also. And he does display the essential character changes necessary. So good Scrooge, but I think there's better versions.
I felt the same way. It's just like sometimes his acting, it just seemed off to me. Like when like again, I've so far watched like 5 different Christmas carols, including the Barbie one, which, oh god. When he goes with Christmas Past and they're flying, he just looks like he just has like this blank look on his face, and I'm like, aren't you supposed to be like, whoa, what's happening? It's just like I was a little bit confused by that part, but again, his singing's fine, his acting's fine. It just seemed a little bit off to me. No.
Very definition. Fine Scrooge. Fine Scrooge.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Neil.
Perfect timing. So, no.
Alan, my dogs are looking at you. Oh, God.
Sorry, dog. I did that. You did that, Scruffy, too. Stop it. We should probably do the Twilight Park on that dog. There it goes.
There it goes. Oh, no.
Thank God that...
Yeah. We lost Neil. He's having internet problems, like what he said before. I'll finish without me. Yeah.
We managed to get just about an hour's worth it. Absolutely worth it. Thank God. Gracious everyone. Yeah. You can say what you want about other versions, but I would even see like the closest we've gotten to Alistair Sim in recent years is the Jim Carrey version, and I love Jim Carrey. He's I mean, of course, with the rubbery face, what I'm about to say goes without saying, but he's a very...
I know, his face is so rubbery. It's like you can contort his face. That's why, that's the main reason why I did not like watching The Grinch. And that's the reason why it took me... I have never seen The Christmas Carol with him until, like, last weekend, because I am so terrified of his face. His face is so creepy as heck.
Yeah.
And when I watch the freaking Christmas Carol, it's just like, oh my god, it's so weird.
With that said, I'm just gonna say before you had to say that he's a very expressive actor. That's what I love about him. You might have noticed there's a few similarities between me and Jim Carrey myself. Maybe I've got some inspiration from. In fact, I got inspiration from the Jim Carrey version as well as the Alistair Sim version for when I played Scrooge. And to play Scrooge and get a piece of holly through his heart, so he should. That was a bit of my Scrooge there. Whenever Jim Carrey going through, as you mentioned before, the transitions with the ghost, like he is flying all over the place, and the people behind the scenes had to make sure that he was in for a wild ride flying. He's going, whoa!
Oh, yeah, the motion capture. Yeah, the motion capture.
Yeah, motion capture definitely helps get his facial expressions and his movements as an old man, and I think there's others where you can genuinely sense the fear. I mean, I think another fine version would probably be in fact, Alistair Sim also reprised his role in an animated version, which was animated by the late Richard Williams, who animated Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as well as The Thief and the Cobbler. I like that version, although that version is a bit too fast-paced, but there are some scenes where the animation really does sell the character combined with the voice. Like, Marley comes along, his character's like... he's like literally shaking. You can just sense the fear. It's astounding how much animation.
I mean, heck, even like the Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol with Scrooge McDuck as Scrooge. I mean, like that's like a perfect role for him. It's so good. I mean, yeah, it's not it's like what about 22 to 30 minutes long, I think. But it's still really good. I freaking love the how he goes through everything and like all the different Disney characters coming along. They fit the roles perfectly. You know, Mickey as Bob Cratchit, Minnie Mouse as his wife, and Pete as the ghost of the Christmas future. Oh shoot, what's the giant's name? The giant is the Christmas present, and then
Um,
Jiminy Cricket is Christmas past, and then like
yes.
Goofy is Marley. It's just so
um, yeah, there's various versions, and basically, when you break it down, all these versions of A Christmas Carol, you rate them ultimately to their creative depictions at the end of the day.
I mean, there's
Uh,
also like TV episodes like My Little Pony and Boy Meets World, Family Ties, Sweet Life on Deck. There's a lot of Christmas Carol episodes. So
yeah,
obviously because of the time, because it's supposed to be what 22 minutes for a TV episode, it's gonna go fast paced, so you're not gonna get the actual
mhm.
time like the Christmas Carol. But they're still good. Again, I guess I don't know about movie, but for TV, My Little Pony is my favorite one for the TV. I don't know about movie. I'm still trying to figure that out, but My Little Pony is my favorite one.
Mm,
In life, of course.
yeah, yeah, that's understandable. All comes down to creative contribution at the end of the day, because you're gonna point out, oh, I like the way this ghost was designed in that version. I like the way this was designed in that version. So obviously, there's gonna be big ones that people appreciate more than others. Some creative choices that people are gonna find really odd, because the story is just so good that you can pretty much do anything with it, and people will still, at the very least, appreciate the effort of sort of retelling the story. And I guess when you break this video down, the ultimate question is, how does the Muppets version compare to the other versions? How does it stand on its own legs, as it were?
Frog legs.
Yeah, frog legs. Um, well, the Muppets do it in the best way they can, with a lot of heart, with some great music, with some impressive effects and such, and great humor. Um, you expect nothing less from the Muppets, and that's what they do with their version.
Yeah, so in the chat right here, because Neil had to go out due to the internet problem, he said he would rate this movie a 7 out of 10. I think I would agree. I think it's a 7 out of 10 for me, too.
I'd probably rate it an 8 out of 10, just slightly higher. Probably not like the absolute greatest, but it's 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 hard not to like it, even if there's some bits that are on the fine category. It's the Muppets. It's what's not to like about that? So yeah, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I think it was Disney Robust. Disney, I think it was Cumbus that was next, and then it was Disney Must.
Coral Rumbus.
Robust, yeah.
There you go. I put in the chat 7, 7, 8, 22 out of 30. Muppets Christmas Carol. So now the because usually Neil would do like the merchandise, but because of internet problems, he sent us this Muppet Babies, which is has Fozzie, Miss Piggy, and Kermit. He said it's past Muppets McDonald's plushies.
I
Yeah,
Neil
the
says he happens.
Ronald McDonald house. They look really cute though.
Yeah, Neil describes that he happens to own the Miss Piggy one, given me by her grandmother. I think these are so cute with their Christmas theme.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were sold at
Miss
the time.
Miss Piggy does look adorable.
Hi. It looks like Miss Piggy's put on her Christmas Carol outfit. You can say what you want about this version, but I think this film has had an impact on the Muppet franchise. Look on Instagram, and some of their pictures that they put up are some like their promotional imagery for the Muppets Christmas Carol, like Kermit as the Bob Cratchit skating on the ice with the penguins, wishing us a happy Christmas. So they're glad to have it be part of their roster. And it's one of those films I keep seeing pop up on the television as something to watch around the time, and I'm happy to put it on when I can. So
yeah, I would say it's definitely, if you want to introduce your kids to like Christmas Carol without being like too intense, this would definitely be perfect for them.
yeah, because
It has Muppets. Like, who doesn't like the Muppets? Come on.
I like the Muppets. I even have a little Kermit design here in my sort of elf T-shirt.
Yeah, like if you don't want to show them like the Jim Carrey version or any of the other versions that are a little bit too intense, you can definitely show them this.
Let's say Jim Carrey version earns that PG rating. It earns it.
Yes. Again, there's a reason why I have never seen that movie until recently, and I'm still sorry for it.
And I still consider The Christmas Carol better than Polar Express, another film that went down the uncanny valley.
Oh, I freaking love Polar Express.
Oh, maybe I'll look into that this season.
Well, actually, funny enough, no, I don't know why I said funny enough. So that's pretty much our review. All of us, well, until like literally the very end without Neil because of internet problems. So this is pretty much our review of A Muppet's Christmas Carol. We hope you guys enjoy, and next time, you guys, we're about to go back to, we're gonna go to pure Disney. I hope you guys are ready for this. This has been kind of controversial. It has to do something with our favorite sisters from Arendelle. One of them is, yeah, one of them has powers, the other doesn't, but it's a quote-unquote short, even though it's 21 minutes long, that played before Coco. It has great songs, but does it still hold up? It was released 3 years ago. So next time, we're going to be doing Olaf's Frozen Adventure. I hope you guys are ready for this. This is going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
Are we going to remember it, or is it best left forgotten, like the people who complained about it before the actual good masterpiece of a film began?
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. And then after Olaf's Frozen Adventure, we're going to assemble some holiday figures.
Maybe the short itself, if you can even call it a flipping short, maybe it was fine on its own merit, but because it got in the way of Coco, a lot of people hate it. So maybe we'll be able to put that aside. I mean, it's on Disney Plus, and anyone can watch it now. So maybe we can just put that aside and just see it as it is. So there is that.
Yep. So stay tuned, guys. We're gonna do Olaf's Frozen Adventure, and then the last thing we're gonna do for Christmas is assemble a bunch of holiday figures to fight the boogeyman.
What's that got to do with Disney?
I'll tell you later. Bye, everybody. Bye. Neil says goodbye as well. So Neil would say goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.